Hey YouTube, how you guys doing today? Kevin here coming back at you with another video. Well, today I thought you guys could use a hand. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to, what do you call it, give you guys a hand with your Honda Shadow. I am working on a 1985 Honda Shadow VT 500. Okay? That's the book that came with the Honda Shadow. It's, like I said, it's a 1985. And you guys have seen the first look on it. We did a video on pulling off the carburetors. And I do a lot of carburetor videos. I do a lot of cool things with carbs. And so this is going to be another one because these are a different type of carburetor. You're used to seeing like the regular floats like you'd have on a carburetor like this. Okay? Sorry for the camera there. Alright? You're used to seeing this style carburetor bowl. And you get this out of here, please. This has a different style. This has a flat style. Okay, it's a very shallow, more of a cover than it is a bowl. Okay, so there's your carburetor bowl. There's your flatness, your flat bowl. All right. Now these right here, the floats get measured the same way, just at their different settings. Okay. And you please move that over there so I can do my video. Thank you. Okay, so first things first. Let's flip open to the page for the settings. Okay, I put this little ruler in here. I'm going to show you what that's all about in a minute. Okay, so on here, we have your 1983, your 1984, your 1985, your 1986. We're in the 1986. It's a VT 500C. That's what the bike is. And then they have the different styles, the different carburetors. So, there's a real quick way to find out which one yours has. If your carburetor is factory and has not been touched like this one, look at your jet numbers. Mine has the 120 jet. And as you can see, some of them are 122 and the front cylinder is a 112. Okay, now I mentioned this before in the carburetor video. V-twins often have different size jets. So over here it tells you front cylinder, rear cylinder. So you're going to make sure you mark that and know which one's which. Now on the throttle cable side, on the VT 500C, that's the rear cylinder. On the, what do you call it? If you're on the bike, the left side. The left side is the rear one. So here is your throttle right here. It opens up these plates. And that's also the back cylinder. So this one, the back cylinder, according to the book, is going to receive the rear cylinder right here. Rear cylinder, 120 jet. If it's California, it's going to be the 115 jet. So what I do is, after I clean the carburetors and I get all the jets in a bucket, you know, I use a magnifying glass and read them and make sure you can see the numbers. The numbers are typically on the front side, or on the side of them, okay? Now these have been cleaned as clean as you could possibly get them. They are kind of crusty in there a little bit, but there's nothing you can do about it.
I have these numbers on here.
Andrew, I am doing my video, please. Alright. So, on the side of the jet, it tells you it's a 120. I don't know if you can see that from the video. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see if it'll, I don't even think it'll come up on your... Yeah, maybe it will. Hold on, let's find out. Hold on. Let's see if we can zoom that in for you. No?
I'll be right back.
Nah, you can't see it because it's in the... yep, it's fine. It's fine, Andrew.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'll go get my drink. Okay?
If you can see... Nah, I'm unsuccessful in showing you. But on the side of the jet right here, it tells you it's a 120. And that's on the throttle side, which is the rear. So I got the proper jet in the right side. And then I look on this side over here to see what side this one is. And this one says 112. So the 112 is for the front. This sits on the bike like this. Throttle side, rear carb, front carb. Alright. So whenever you're doing V-twin carburetors, on any V-twin that has dual carbs, make sure you check your jets before you pull them out. If you have a book, check your book and make sure you have the reference in the book. Because if you don't, you can have yourself a pretty big mess. But from experience and all the bikes that I've taken apart, the rear cylinder and the front cylinder have different jets, and the rear cylinder is always the big one. So the big jet is always in the back. The front one is always the small one. That's just how it's been on all the bikes. It's like that on my Virago. But because the reason why they do this is because, like on the Viragos, if you have a custom exhaust or a factory exhaust, the front pipe is bigger than the back pipe. And they have to compensate for that. Sometimes it's reversed. Very rarely you'll find it reversed. So always check your jets. So moving on from that, also on the book, and this is why I always stress, buy the book. Get the book. Thankfully, my bike has come with the book. Okay? And I keep these books. When I sell the bike, I keep the climber book because I get so many of them. And I have a nice little collection of them. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to look at the float level. Okay? Float level right here, 6.8 millimeters. Now, on the KE100s or, different bikes that have this style bowl, this one happens to be 24 millimeters on the KE100, where it's only on this one 6.8. There's your hint right there. The reason why it's so small is because of the bowl style. Okay, this is a flat bowl. So these floats are recessed in. The bowl is actually further into the carburetor than it would normally be. So the way I adjust my floats, I kind of wiggle the carburetor back and forth a little bit like this. Shake it back and forth, get the float moving a little bit. Tap it a couple times and get it to rest. Okay? So what you're going to do is when it's resting, okay, I put it on the side like this. I go back and forth, get the carburetor the float to relax, spring tension in, and it comes back out and rests. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to measure from the float being relaxed, on no spring tension, no pressure on it, okay, from the tip here to the carburetor body, top to the body. So there are several ways of doing this. You look in the book, and it gives you it in millimeters and in inches. Some of these little rulers have both. Some have, just one or the other. This one has, it's in 16ths and 30 seconds. This one right here is in millimeters and looks like centimeters. Can't read it. Hold on one second. Tell you in a second. Yeah, 30. Okay, this one's measured in 30 seconds. Okay, so you got US on this side, and then you got the metric system on the other, on this particular ruler. This is made by KD Tools. You can get this at any auto parts store. And basically, you just relax the float, get it relaxed, and you're going to measure to the top of your carburetor float. Okay, just like that. And see what the measurement is. I don't do it that way. I cheat. I use my little caliper vernier because I like this thing a lot. And it makes my life a lot easier. So what I do is I set it on metric. See, this is made by General. And this is a very good quality. You've seen this thing in a lot of my videos. I use it a lot. You could change the mode. And this brings it to inches. And then fractions. And then back to millimeters. So, loosen up the jam, make sure it's at 0. See right here? You zero it out. That's 0. And we're going to go to 6.8 millimeters. Andrew, get away from me, please. Okay. This is kind of hard to do because this thing is so sensitive. And a hair off is not going to matter. But I try to get it as close as I can. And sometimes I'm just going to lock it down there. 6.81 is fine. That's close. Okay, so then I use the bottom part with the float relaxed. I don't know if you can see that out right there. Yep, float relaxed. Not quite. So then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little screwdriver, bend the tab up just a wee bit, relax the float, and then do it again. And that right there, my friends, is absolutely perfect. Straight onto it. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other carburetor. Relax the float. Check the adjustment. That looks good to me. I'm cool with that. And that's straight onto it, so it's at the same height. You don't want to. Here we go. Get the carburetor relaxed, because you don't use it's. That's how it's going to be relaxed. Right there. Right up to height. Okay, so these are good. So to adjust the float, like on any carburetor, that little tab right there, you're going to bend it up and down to adjust their float height level. And then obviously just make sure that your, what do you call it there? Your gasket's all on there. And you got the carburetor as clean as possible. And that's pretty much it for the float adjustments. So, this is the Honda Shadow VT 500C. And we got to do this again on the 700. The VT 700C that we picked up from a friend of mine down in, what do you call it there, the southern part of the state. Tomorrow we're going to install these carburetors. We got a lot of videos coming up, and we're going to be working on them like nightly now, pretty much. So, getting these on there. We're going to try firing this bike up tomorrow and seeing if it'll go. What's going on with it, and if we can get this thing to fire back up. I cleaned all the jets. Unfortunately, this carburetor is as clean as I possibly can get it, and I'm not going crazy with it. So, tighten up the bowls in the cross pattern. Just snug them on. It's very important that you get the jets in the right spot, because if you don't, this thing will run crappy. And you'll be trying to adjust the carburetors, and you'll be thinking you did something wrong, and the only thing you did wrong was simple. You didn't watch my videos. No, just kidding. No, you have to just make sure you put the, whatchamacallit there. You got to make sure you put the right jet in the right spot. And that is very, very important. I left one of the screws in the house. I'm actually in my camper doing this. Because it is pouring out today. It's just a real crappy day. So I think, you know what? I'm going to go hang out in my camper and do a quick video. Get these guys, you know, so you don't think I forgot about you. And I also want to show you a tool I made. Okay, so that right there, the screw to the side is in the house. I will grab that when I go back in. But you guys get the idea. You guys know how to tighten down a carburetor bowl. I don't need to school you on that. So, let's see. Just tighten down these screws right here. And then I'm going to show you a pretty cool tool I made. Now, you guys with the Kawasaki KEs, the KDs, the KMs, the MC1s, all those great bikes that we use, the, what do you call it, the KDX, those sort of bikes, know about the carburetor bowl, okay? And there is no sight glass. There's no way to really tell what the fuel level is in the bowl. Now, you read the book, and the book tells you 4 millimeters. Okay, well, not everybody has extra bowls, but if you have a chance to have an extra carburetor bowl kicking around this junk, like this one's junk because this jet right here, this vent, is clogged. So the choke doesn't work properly. So what I did was I marked out with my caliper vernier, with this thing right here, I marked out 4 millimeters, exactly 4 millimeters, which is not a whole lot. That's about like that, you know. So I marked it out and I grinded out this. I put a notch in the carburetor bowl. Now, if I get fuel coming out, when the carburetor is level, that means my float is not adjusted properly. If the fuel level is right to the edge of it, then I got to adjust it properly. So that's a little cheater I made, a little cheater tool I have. And you guys know I make a lot of cheater tools, like the point adjuster, stuff like that. So I figured I'd show you guys another cool tool that I do, that I have in my arsenal of tools. And once again, you don't have to go out and buy this wasn't expensive, by the way. This was 40 bucks. And it's a great tool. If you're not going to use it a lot, and I know a lot of you guys are that are on my channel are backyard mechanics. A lot of you guys are mechanics that you don't really buy all the fancy equipment. That's perfectly fine. These things right here are like, I think they're like $5. And you can get them anywhere. I have, which one's this one? This one, this one's made by Sears. This one's made by Sears. I had these for a long time. This one is made by KD Tools. Right here. And you guys saw the one I did in one of my other videos. I used one of these, and it's made by Snap-on. I got so many of these, and these basically come with a pocket protector. I mean, you can use these for anything, depths, whatever, measuring anything. They come in handy. I got them in a variable, different things. So I keep picking them up. I keep getting them, and they're great for carburetors. Great carburetor tool. And then of course I keep with my carburetor stuff this little handy little magnifying glass. I don't even know where I got it from. I think a yard sale. And it allows me to see the jets a lot easier, especially when you get those jets that have been they're just old, like these. So keep that in mind. Get yourself a magnifying glass. Get yourself a cheap ruler, and keep these in your toolbox. Keep them together, because when you're doing carburetors, these help. And get yourself a manual. These things right here are, Climber makes a great manual. Haynes makes a manual. Not as, in my opinion, not as thorough as a Climber. But for bikes, these are the books. Now, if you have a car, you can get yourself a Haynes. Some bikes I have both for, but this shows you everything. It shows you the 4 strokes, how it operates, how to tear it down, proper specifications. It's got charts in there, like all the specifications. This is the one right here that I care about. In fact, let's take this page and just fold it over for reference, okay? It shows you how the charging system works. I mean, it's all there. It shows you how to adjust the carburetors. This bike has 4 spark plugs, So we're going to be doing tomorrow. We're going to install these carburetors on the bike after I get out of work. When I get home, we're going to install these bikes and see if we can do a first cold start on the bike. This bike, I started it on starting fluid. And the bike has been sitting for a very, very long time, since 2004. And the bike hasn't had any good fuel flowing through it. So we are going to do a supplemental fuel system so we can adjust it. The other thing this book tells you, not to change the subject on you again, but if you go back, it tells you what the front cylinder turns are and what the rear cylinder is. But we're not playing with any of those because we're not touching them. But I've had these all apart. They are good carbs. Everything looks clean on them. These are the 2 vents up here. Got the fuel line. We're going to install these tomorrow. And I'm going to show you guys a quick and easy tip. And you're going to love it. It's a great tip to install these carburetors. And these can be a pain in the neck because they're at an angle. One's facing one way, one's facing the other direction. So you got one engine cylinder here, and the other one's on the other side. And then you got to put these in the same boots and get them to get... No. I'm going to show you an easy way to get these installed. And hopefully it helps you guys out. So as always, guys, thank you for subscribing. 680 strong. You guys are rocking. And I appreciate that. So if there's anything I can do to help you guys out with your projects, by all means, please let me know. This is the Honda Shadow 500 carb set. And tomorrow we're going to mount these, fire it, and check it all out and see. I know it has an antifreeze leak at the bottom. We're going to get into that at another time. We just want to get this thing running and make sure that it is a good engine. Because the owner of it wasn't sure what happened with it when it parked. And that's a gamble. That's a risk we all take when we buy a used bike. But I got it for a great price, $100. And we're going to try to make some money with this bike. So, for more projects, we got a lot of carburetor videos coming up. The KLR 650, the other Honda Shadow 700, which is basically the same size, same style, but has other things on it for emissions and all kinds of stuff. So, this is the basic, and then we're going to do the advanced carb. So, anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Please subscribe. And any subscription helps, and I really appreciate you guys' support. You guys have been great. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.